As you get more comfortable, you can start to move that leg up the thigh. Once you find your resting place, you want to find that big tree trunk leg reaching down, that nice tall heart growing up, our gaze out nice and strong, and then we can start to grow our branches nice and tall, swaying in the wind. Hi everyone, my name is Patrick Ferreri. I'm a dancer, actor, theater maker, and a teaching artist with the New Victory Theater. For this week's Arts Break, I'm coming to you from my apartment in Brooklyn, which I share with my partner Nick and our two cats, Krishna and Macho, who you might see roaming around. Today, we're going to play with some yoga poses that will help us improve and practice our balance. I've already cleared out a bunch of space. I moved my furniture off to the side so there are no sharp edges around that I could potentially hit myself on. Once I've got the space, I made sure I wore a nice comfortable outfit that has a little bit of room so I can move my legs side to side. Now, to balance, we're going to play with 4 different yoga poses that give us different ideas and different ways to engage our muscles and tone our bodies and find that perfect centered place. To get started, you want to step with your feet about hip width apart. That means there's a little bit of space between them. I'm going to bring my feet parallel so my toes are forward right in front of my heels. To test this out, I'll bend my knees over my toes. If my knees go off any way to the side, it means I'm not in the best shape. You really want to find that alignment, knees over the center of your toes so you can stretch back through your heels. Once you take a few little bends and straightens, you're going to end with a little reach through your legs. Now, you never want to lock your knees back. You want to keep a little softness in there so you can feel that energy moving through you. Now, as much as balancing is about our legs, it's also about our focus. So to start, with our legs underneath us, we're going to send our gaze about 6 feet in front of us. Find a spot, a steady point that's not moving to look at. So I have 2 cats, Krishna and Macho. If they were in front of me, they would not be good things to stare at because they're always moving. From here, I'm going to pick a spot on my sofa. I'm looking, imagining my gaze like a laser beam shooting out. As much as my gaze is shooting out, I'm reaching down through my heels, drawing my navel back and lifting energy up to the crown of my head. Now, I'm imagining my legs are like the roots of a tree, growing lower and lower. Just like that tree roots, energy goes down, has to come up. So in balancing, we'll talk a lot about opposing energies, right? As much as we're stretching down one way, you want to lift up the other way. So once you get the hang of that, you can play with your gaze. A lower gaze is a little easier. Then from there, you can start to bring your gaze up, maybe to eye level. If you really want to challenge, bring your gaze up towards the sky. Make sure that doesn't lift your chest too much, but really keep yourself stacked. Hips over heels, shoulders over hips, head over shoulders. From there, we're going to soften our knees and we're going to play with shifting our weight side to side. Taking big wide steps, sliding our legs back through center. Think of just shifting nice and easily. As you get more comfortable, start to slow it down. As you slow it down, play with that stacking. Hips over heels, shoulders over hips. Hips over heels, shoulder over hips. Just like I'm bringing my body with me, I want to bring my gaze as well. If it starts over to the right, I need to trace the horizon and come back up to the left. Let's do that a few more times. The next time we come over to the right, I want you to hold your left knee up into the sky. You can keep it nice and low. Your toes can tap down to help you. Or, extra challenge, you can catch that thigh underneath or across your knee. Bend your elbows and lift your chest nice and tall. From here, we're going to go into our first yoga pose, an eagle pose. I want you to find that nice tree trunk leg, inner thighs hugging. From there, you're going to release your left hand and take your left thigh across your right. You're going to sit back and make a shelf for your left thigh. Now my thighs are crossed, they're hugging and nice and tight. You might also be able to wrap your toes around your calf. I can't quite make it there, but maybe you can. Once you find the spot you're going to stay in, your knees are stacked, we're going to stack our elbows too. So flap your big eagle wing arms open nice and wide. Since our left leg's on top, we're going to take our left arm and scoop up our right elbow. Once our elbows are stacked, you can wrap your forearms and catch your toes. From here, shoulders will open. If this is too much in the hands, you can catch opposite shoulders, just try to keep your elbows stacked. From here, you send your hips back and sail your heart forward. I'm still standing nice and strongly through this leg. I'm connecting to my gaze and soaring nice and tall. Facing back forwards, you can see, I'm gonna play with our last standing pose, tree pose. To do this, we need to build our branches. You're gonna stretch your right arm away from your left knee open to the side. From here, you catch your left ankle and step it strongly on the inside of your leg. You wanna lift your leg as high as you can. I'm stacking it on the inside of my thigh, my heel pretty close up underneath me. If that's too hard, you can slide it down below your knee to rest on your calf. You can also practice with your toes on the ground and your heel up just above your ankle. Almost have a little kickstand here. As you get more comfortable, you can start to move that leg up the thigh. Once you find your resting place, you want to find that big tree trunk leg reaching down, that nice tall heart growing up, our gaze out nice and strong, and then we can start to grow our branches nice and tall, swaying in the wind. For a little extra challenge, you can close your eyes. That makes it so much harder. Taking the gaze out, you have to rely on your body. Next up, we're gonna play with one more pose so that we practice not just standing on our feet, but standing on our hands. To make this happen, we're gonna play with a crow pose. This time we'll start with our feet a little wider so they're outside of our hips. We'll scooch our heels in and let our toes turn out slightly. From here, I'm gonna switch to the side again because it's a little easier to see. So coming into that big wide stance, my heels in, my toes out, I'm gonna softly bend my knees, my ankles, and my hips so I come into a nice little crouch pose. Now, you can send your weight back through your heels or keep them lifted like I am. Whatever you choose, make sure you're still hugging your inner thighs in so you don't want your knees to open too much. That's gonna open you from your center. You wanna try to hug into the center. From there, I'm gonna make 2 high fives. I'm gonna high five the ground out in front of me. From there, I'm gonna pull my chest forward and then rock myself back. High five forward, rock it on back. Just like we played with shifting our weight, play with shifting your energy from your feet to your hands, from your feet to your hands. Just like we stacked our body, we're gonna stack ourselves here too. You're gonna slide your wrists to the ground, your shoulders over those wrists, your hips up, your knees are gonna come in just above your elbows. From here, my heart is nice and strong, my gaze is lifting forward, my tailbone is lifting back. I'm just gonna shift one foot off the ground, tap it down, other foot off the ground, tap it down, taking a break when I need. When you're ready, we're gonna rock forward, stacking our palms, our wrists, our shoulders, our hearts. Elbows come back, knees come up, one toes leave the ground, other toes leave the ground, hug those thighs, send the chest forward, nice strong navel, fly through the air, and tap yourself down, rock yourself back, and maybe stand all the way up into that knee hug. Shake out your legs. How'd you do? Thank you so much for joining me. I hope you have a great day, and we'll see you next Arts Break. Bye.